Good morning everyone and welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. This is the tutorial video for my June 2023 Fun Fold class. And it's a Fun Fold class in every sense of the word this time. All three cards are Fun Folds. In fact, all three cards are Easel cards. So I'm calling this month a celebration of Easel cards. And I was quite excited and proud of this class until I actually started cutting it. And I realised that there's a fair bit to an Easel card. It turned into a really fun class, but probably not one I'm going to repeat for the foreseeable future. Anyway, so let's get started. I have also this month introduced a PDF version or a PDF instructional document for this class. What the PDF will actually have is the product listing, the measurements, and the sort of preparation steps, and then for the actual assembly of the cards I'll refer you through to this video, only because trying to put into words how to assemble some of these cards would turn the PDF into something like War and Peace, a very, very long document. It's much easier for both of us, I think, if I actually show you how to assemble the cards once you have the pieces all ready and cut and scored and everything like that. If you've bought my kits, of course, you've already got everything cut, scored and ready to go. The only bit of homework you've got to do before we actually start the card is fussy cut this little shop that's on the front of the second card here. So you should have a piece of designer series paper in your kit that has a shop there. It might not be this one, it'll be one of the other random ones from the Les Shops designer series paper. You'll have a little shop, you might have a little menu board or a pot plant or something as well to put with it. So you do have to fussy cut that before we get to that card, but I've already done mine, so we can plow on. Okay, I'm going to try and stick to the order from the PDF so you guys don't have to be scrolling backwards and forwards, which means I'm going to start with this one here on my left, which is lovely. It's a double twisted Easel card. Now, I've been making these a bit. I joked to somebody the other day that it's my fold of the month. I seem to have been popping them into just about every class I have. I think this is probably probably the last one for a while. I'll move on to some other favourite fold next, but this is a very pretty one. You may notice some colour difference with the cardstock. This is actually Berry Burst, but in the kits I've actually given everybody Blackberry Bliss. That's a little bit of a face palm moment that I won't share here, but just one of those little brain spasms that I had during the week and got my colours all mixed up. But anyway, let's pop this one together. It's basically, it doesn't matter what colour it is, it's going to be very pretty. Okay, so I'll grab my kit. I've got two cards in here, so it's going to be a matter of me fishing out one kit only. I'll get the card base out because that I can show you what that looks like. Okay, I'll pop that aside. So the basic card base is a 5.5 by 8 1/4 piece of cardstock. This is Blackberry Bliss, as you can see. It's been scored at 4 1/8. No, I'll turn it that way. 2 3/4 and 4 1/8 inches, and then it's been cut at the 2 3/4 mark into that 2 3/4 mark score. And I just score that a little bit clearer so you can see it. Hopefully that's roughly there. My scores didn't work very well at all. There we are. So I had a group of ladies here the other day and we were doing this card just here in my home, and we decided that looked like a little pair of trousers with the 2 legs and the waistband, and that's the rest of the body up there. So it made it easier for me to point out the bits of the card with the reference to a pair of trousers. Okay, so we might not have to do that this time. So in your kit, yours looks like that. There's one thing we're going to have to do, and that is score to form our easels. We're going to have to score diagonally from the centre there through to the outside, and then the centre there through to the outside. I know when the ladies were here, we were basically going to score from the inside leg to the outside leg. Well, that's basically how we described it. So we're going to grab, and I'll do mine so you know what to do. So you can do this on a scoreboard or on your scorer. And there is a wee trick to it which the ladies that I had here at the weekend suggested. I was doing it all sorts of difficult. So we're going to score from that part there through to from the inside leg to the outside leg. You can just fold one leg up and position it on your scoring board. And then, so from the inside leg to the outside leg, I think we actually said groin. There you go. That's our first one. And we fold that leg up, push that one down. We line that up with our scoreboard, our scoring trim blade, and score that one as well. Okay, so that is the 2 scores you need to do, and I'll fold those in a minute. I know I usually score everything for you guys with your kits, but it was 35 kits this time, and yes, I just couldn't face it anymore. That's why I said this class grew into something that was much larger than I anticipated. Okay. So you need to, as I said to the ladies, bend down at the knees is the score you're going for. And that, when we glue that down, that's our basic little easel there. Okay, so what we might do actually is add our white card. This is, you've got a piece of white cardstock, so this is our inside. So we might grab some glue or adhesive, whatever you use, put that on there. So it's going towards the front. It's not obviously going to go the whole way, it's just going to go towards the front part of the card. And then behind it there, we're going to glue that little spine down. So we're going to glue that down. I'm actually going to use double-sided tape on that, only because I need it to stick immediately rather than wiggle around a bit. If you've got time to wait, just use your glue. Snail works too. But I need that to stick down immediately, so I'm just going to use double-sided tape. Here we are. Okay, so that's our basics of our card base anyway. As you can see, that's our little easel. It was important to pop that white piece down before you start working inside the card, only because you can't put it down afterwards, obviously. Okay, so let's get the rest of this done. In your kit, you also have a long piece of pretty peacock and a long piece of cardstock that looks like this one. I think it's got a blue on one side, but we're after this side here. You've also got two 2 3/4 inch square pieces of blackberry bliss, and you've also got 2 quite a little bit smaller, or 2.5, I think they are, inches square. Put all the metric measurements in the PDF, so if you want those, they're there. So you've got 2 of those, 2 of those, and 2 pieces of the very pretty designer series paper. Now this designer series paper is the masterfully made designer series paper, so it's really, really lovely. We might just stick with that for the moment. We'll bring the rest out as we need it, otherwise I'm going to lose things. Okay, so this long piece of cardstock and long piece of designer series paper go on the spine. We can pop those on now. And I was thinking it would be nice, it's a bit hard to come out that way. It would be nice with a ribbon trapped beneath there if you had a ribbon you like. and then the designer series paper on top. There we are. Okay, then we're going to layer these up here. So obviously the larger Blackberry Bliss is at the bottom, then the next sized Pretty Peacock, and then the designer series paper on top. Now, before we get there, and I'm reminding myself as much as I'm reminding you guys, when we pop this card together, you have to make sure that these panels are orientated the right way. Okay, because they will look one direction when the card is flat. Yep, see ya. Look one direction when the card is flat, but you want it to be the right direction when it's up on display. So that's obviously, hopefully, it'll spend most of its time on display. So we need to make sure we put them the right way up. Okay, so we might pop them on now. So these two panels are going to be our front-facing easel layers, or layers. So they need to be glued to these, the two little down-folded parts of our card. So those two centre pieces. So just pop some glue just on the two inner triangles. Bring in the panels. Let's make sure I'm putting them the right way. I think I need them that way so they sit up. No, I need them that way so they sit up. That's the way I want them. Just have a bit of a play. Make sure you put them the right way up. So they're exactly the same size as your the two legs of your trousers, if you like. So we need to line them up as closely as we possibly can to the card underneath. That one sitting up like that. Okay, and this one, get the direction right again. We want sitting up like this. So again, lining them up. Our glue is very good for this because you will be able to give yourself a little bit of time to move them around and line them up correctly. As I say, they should meet pretty much exactly in the middle. Okay, so there they are. Okay, next thing to do is we might decorate these a bit more. In your kit you'll have two circles. Yep, in your kit you'll have two circles. I'll get the rest of this out as well. Just to make a bit of room. I've got one here for the video and one here for our Zoom that we'll do later in the month. So I'll pop them all in together to save bags, and it's a fair bit going on in there. Okay, so we've got two circles, but you've also got a series of flowers. Now I've cut these flowers for you from the paper florist dies. Trying to get my head around how to do the flowers. I've never been a paper flower person before, as I think I've mentioned previously, but I'm trying my hardest. So for this one, you've got two of the larger flowers and two of the smaller flowers, and you'll need 4 little petals. Now the little petals are actually cut, and I always go to punches if I can possibly, because they're much easier than, in a lot of ways, easier than dies for cutting multiple classes. the little leaf is from the Petal Park Builder punch. So that will be listed on the PDF as well. Really good doing the PDF. I've decided I can basically forget what I've used and you guys can just go and find it yourselves. Okay, so we're going to pop the 2 circles onto our 2 front facing, oh no, 1. Do 1 circle first because the other one needs its sentiment on it. We'll put the left-hand circle on first. This is the one that's going to have our pretty flowers on it. Well, whichever side you decide. So take your little flowers, take your bone folder, and just between your thumb and your bone folder, just give your flowers a wee bit of curl. I curl them down, but it's totally up to you what you prefer. I'll make them into little 4-legged spiders. Alive spiders, not dead spiders. And then I'm going to glue the 2 small ones together and the 2 big ones together. One of the ladies here at the weekend put the big one with the small one and so made 2 flowers the same, and that looked just fine. So have a bit of a play, see what you think. I'm going to put the 2 bigs and the 2 littles together. So just a touch of glue in the centre. Hold it for a wee second. Touch of glue in the centre. Oh, I might leave him till I've got my finger off here. There we go. Trying to be too clever, aren't I? There we go. Such a cute little flower, this one. Very cute. So you've got 2 little flowers there. So we've got our circle on here already. Now, remembering that we need to keep it oriented so it's up and down that way, we're going to pop our 2 little flowers on to remind myself. Look at my card. Okay, I have put the larger one towards the top and then brought the smaller one in towards the bottom. So that sort of orientation there. I'll put that down. Okay. So I want the larger one here. Yep. And the smaller one there. We'll bring in our little leaves. Love our little leaves. In you go. There you go. Go in there. Okay, so we've got our little leaves in there as well. It's cute. It sits up like that, which is exactly what we want. Okay, right, let's do this right-hand side. Now I'm going to stamp the sentiment here. I'm going to use the sentiments for a couple of cards today from the Timeless arrangement. And I love the sentiments in this arrange because you can mix and match them and put them in different coloured inks. Today I'm going to use the 2 colours from my cardstock. I'm going to use a combination of Pretty Peacock and Blackberry Bliss. So I'm going to say I'm going to have a very big, what is it? A very big, now I've got to find it. Here we go. Now, it does mean stamping it in, 3 parts, but that's okay. We can do that. So a very big, I'm going to pop in our pretty peacock. It seems to have dried out. Get a refill onto that one. Doesn't look too bad. A very big, and then a thank you. Make sure I put this back in the right place. Where's it supposed to go? Over here. And the thank you I'm going to put in our Blackberry Bliss. Yeah. And then it's got a cute little to you in there. So you can use the to you for just about anything. Happy birthday to you. Thank you to you. Lots of to yous. Here we go. And then I'll go back to my pretty peacock. There we are. A very big thank you to you. And I love the way though they both look like dark colours, you can actually take it from me that they both look different in there. So I've used the Blackberry Bliss to match the cardstock. You could probably take it down to the berry, thank you. I've taken it to the Blackberry Bliss. You probably could take it to the Berry Burst back to a lighter pink if you wanted it to look more different than it does there. Okay, so we're going to pop this one onto the right-hand side. And again, this is probably the really important one, that you make sure it's the right way up. So we want it to sit up like that and there. So that's the direction we want the writing. There we are. So it looks a bit funny when the card's folded flat, but when it's on display, it'll be much better. There we go. And we hope it's on display lots and lots and lots, don't we? Okay, so there we are. So that's our there. We've just got our bling to do there. So we need a foot stop. All good easel cards need a foot stop. So what we're going to use is, in your kit, you've got a smaller square of Blackberry Bliss, smaller again of Pretty Peacock. Pop those two together. Now this fits exactly into that little triangle shape, that little triangle that we've made in the centre there. So that's what we're aiming at, to get that exactly into there. So you need some dimensionals. And we'll open up our card. Now we know that the top of that triangle is exactly the middle of the back. So we want to make sure, the easiest way is to make sure that the front of the diamond, or the back of the diamond, is going to go up at the middle of the back. We want the front of the diamond to be in the middle of the front. So I'm going to line this up with my card base. So it's roughly there. So the middle of it is here. Not that you can see that. I'll move my thing up a bit. Yep. So I'm using the grid on my grid paper to line it up so that I know where the centre of the card is. It's 5.5 there. So the centre is roughly there, if you can see, just above that little thing. So I'm going to nestle the back of the diamond into where those two little easels meet, and then drop the centre to where my grid paper tells me the centre of the front is. You could measure it actually if you wanted to make it easier. Measure with a ruler the length of the card and just put a little pencil mark where the centre is, and that's probably easier than lining it unless you've got your grid paper handy. So just measure. Let's see how accurate I was. I want that at the 2 3/4 mark. Now I'm out by about 1/8 of an inch, but that's fine. So yeah, line that up so that they're parallel with the edges. Okay, so that's our little footstep, but we're going to brighten that up a little bit with this. This is the serrated oval from the double oval punch. I'm going to use my pretty peacock again. Grab, so we've got a very big thank you to you. We just need a nice little follow-up. I really appreciate you. I'm going to pop that onto our little serrated oval, just for our little follow-on sentiment. There we are. And that we'll just glue onto that little centre footstop. It should fit pretty much perfectly, to be honest. Thankfully. There we are. Okay, so that's the inside done, or mostly. Now some bling. You should have some bling in your pack as well, so hopefully you've been very careful and not dropped it on the floor, which I'm not sure I have. I think it must be here somewhere. Where are you, bling? There's one. You should have 3 blings. Yep, I've got 3 little blings there. Just add them. I'm going to pop 2 of them. Just close this down. 2 of them in the centre of our little flowers. So 1 and 2, just to give them a little bit of shimmer. And the third one I'm going to pop down next to our footstop, just down in here. There we are. So that's card number 1 done. Here we are. I really like that one. Yeah, so that is officially called a double twisted easel card. It's really, really nice. Now you can write up and under the easel, put your personal message there. You might not feel comfortable doing that, so I just put a white panel on the bottom if that's what you decide to do, if you don't want to actually write on that white panel at all, which is probably what I'd do, I think. There we go, card number 1. That took 30 minutes nearly, so it's a big one, that one, but it's worth it, worth the extra effort. I'll pop that one away. Okay, card number 2. So keeping in the order of our PDF, card number 2 is this one here. Just yeah. But I think actually I might have a bit of a clean up and come back. So I usually do these videos in one full stretch, but I might actually have a bit of a break in between these because I've got a bit of mess about me. So I might actually cut now, and we'll do this class in maybe 3 videos just for a change. And you'll have the links obviously in your PDF. So I'll have a break and I'll come back with the second card in a second.